Forbes. Congratulations. I'm on lane 24, secretaries on lane 24. Please bring your envelopes before the end of the first game and after practice so I can release your practice. Thank you.
You got a line already.
Oh, thank you. I gotta go get some things. I'll be back.
I'm not ready to go. I have a question about spots.
Good evening, everybody. Live from Robert Eddy's Lightning Strikes Bowl in Fort Myers, Florida. We'd like to welcome all of you to week 23 of the Audi of Fort Myers League. Tonight, the league will be bowling 3 games. This is a league with $5,000 added. Hold it. Good evening, everybody. Live from Robert Eddy's Lightning Strikes Bowl in Fort Myers, Florida. We'd like to welcome all of you to week 23 of the Audi of Fort Myers League, the #1 mixed league in Southwest Florida. I'm Larry Lichstein. Great to be back with all of you this evening. This league has a $5,000 added prize fund, and starting week 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 22, 2 bowlers, a man and a lady each week. 1-day, 2-day usages of Audis from Audi of Fort Myers. Again, we want to thank David Forbes for his generosity in his 5th year of sponsoring a league here at Lightning Strikes. We will be bowling on 5 through 8, 9 through 12, 13 through 16, 17 through 20. '21 to 24, 25 and 6, 27 to 30, 31 to 34, 39 to 42, 43 to 46, and 47 to 50. Got a little problem again with 35 through 38. We got a ghost in there. We can't get rid of it. Hopefully we'll have it up and running for everybody tomorrow evening for the Oaks Farms iRoof League. Again, welcome back. A great week planned here for Lightning Strikes, especially this weekend. We will have Uncle Don's Light Beer here sponsoring the 4-game team event, adding $500 to the prize fund, a $500 added sponsor. And this Sunday, for the first time, Paradise Vintage Market will be sponsoring the Senior Eliminator here at Lightning. $250 added. Brian Copeland coming aboard for 12 weeks, 12 tournaments every month, the last Sunday, to sponsor the Eliminator here at Lightning Strikes. So this weekend, $750 added to our events. We're very proud of that number. And again, we want to invite all of you to be watching us this weekend here at Lightning. Just bear with me. I got to check a few things out here on the cell phone. See if we're up and running, and I don't see it yet. So you got to bear with me, folks. I hope we are on the air. I don't see anything yet. And we never know here in the technical world. I want to double check. Here we go. Audi of Fort Myers, week 23. I want to check my sound. It looks like we're on. We got good sound. Wayne Toplin sneaking in to help me tonight. No, I didn't even know about it. All right. Great to be back with all of you here on a beautiful Tuesday. What a wonderful day today. About 75, sun out. Just makes it worthwhile to live here. It's that time of the year where we love Florida. As you can see, the house is filling up. Let me show you what's happening here. Bowlers coming in from around the region. Again, this is a mixed league. Got some great bowlers bowling tonight. David Stouffer bowling tonight. Keith Cross right there. Dustin Valentin. Some of the heavy hitters. A lot of ladies. A lot of excellent bowlers that bowl tomorrow night in the Oaks Farm My Roof League. Tuning up tonight here at Lightning. As you can see, the place filling up, getting ready for the action this evening. Again, we're very excited about our two sponsors coming in this weekend. Brian Copeland, an avid bowler who bowls Wednesday nights here, adding 125 for first, 75 for second, and then a $50 gift certificate for third at Paradise Vintage Market in North Fort Myers. And on Saturday, Uncle Don's Light will be here beer testing, offering some samples, adding 500 to that team tournament. That is a lot of money. So we can't wait for this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will be on the air at 1:15, of course, tomorrow night. Oaks Farms High Roof will be on the air at 6:45. And it's practice time now at Lightning Strikes in beautiful Fort Myers, Florida on the 18th of February. Again, this is week 23. Normally, we would be at week 27, but we've lost 4 weeks this year due to the hurricane and Christmas and New Year's. So we have 4 weeks to make up. Cross on 23, and in this league he is averaging 245. Scott Kelly, who won a few weeks ago, right there on 25 and 6. While they're warming up, folks, we're going to go to a quick commercial. As usual, I want to thank the great David Forbes for his generosity. Audi in their 5th year of sponsorship at Lightning Strikes. David Forbes adding $5,000 to this league's prize fund, along with the Audi usages. They're looking at about a $20,000 added bonus to these league bowlers here on Tuesday evenings. What a sponsor. Wonderful man, avid bowler in his life. Decided when he became the GM of Audi that he wanted to help bowling here in Fort Myers, and we talked in the fall of 2020, and the next thing you know, it's in his 5th year of sponsorship. Lots of cars given out, lots of very happy league bowlers. There's the great Stouffer tuning up on Tuesdays, which I find kind of hard to believe. It's a mixed league. Obviously, he's a money player, a scratch player, but sometimes it's good to get out there and have what I would call a relaxed league to bowl in, where you're really not under the gun every ball. It's more of a fun league. I mean, tomorrow night is action night. That's the night where you want to be dead in stroke and ready with all the brackets, pots, and the big money at stake in an added money league with 15,000 added. But I'm kind of surprised he's bowling this league. On the other hand, it's a fun league. It's a great league. Between Keith Cross and David. David averaging right at 251 on Wednesdays, and Cross in this league averaging 245. Two highest averages in the house, bowling a mixed league. Larry Stella's on tonight talking about the beer teams or beer sponsorships of the 80s. Yes, we had the Miller Brewing Company, we had Budweiser, and we had Molson sponsoring in the 80s. And the fall tour featured the Budweiser company with Earl Anthony and Jay Randolph doing the color. Miller was in the winter with Nelson Burton and Chris Schenkel. And in the summers, the Molson event was hosted by Mike Durbin and Denny Schreiner. All those announcers making the PBA Hall of Fame, except Randolph, which is sort of interesting. Jay Randolph's father, Jennings Randolph, was the governor of West Virginia. A lot of people don't know that. And Randolph was a great announcer with NBC Sports. Loved the bowlers. Last I knew, he was still with us, well into his 90s. I hope he's still with us. He's a wonderful man. Had a chance to talk with him quite a bit in my career on the tour. And of course, Chris Schenkel and I were very close friends, as well as Denny Schreiner and Mike Durbin. Denny Schreiner was an excellent bowler, scratch bowler, and of course Durbin won the Firestone 3 times. Was the first bowler to win it 3 times, and then Jason Couch came in and won it when it was the Tournament of Champions, but Durbin won it when it was called the Firestone Tournament Champions, 72, 82, and 84. The 72 event, he won it with 3 steps, beating the great Timmy Harahan out of Canoga Park, California. Durbin, a gifted bowler, won on tour with 3, 4, and 5 steps, full roller and semi-roller. Very hard to do. Mike Durbin now living in Texas. Again, a very interesting show this weekend with EJ Tackett winning again. I want to congratulate him and Jerry Panexa, the owner of Jopo. EJ Tackett signed to the Jopo staff at the start of this season and has won 2 of the first 4 tournaments using Jopo thumbs. They are the best interchangeable thumb in bowling. And I am fortunate enough to be on their staff. But the win was so significant for Tackett that Larry Stella will like this statistic. This is a legitimate statistic. There are 4 bowlers who were born and raised in Indiana that won 25 or more PBA titles. Dick Weber, who was born and raised in Indiana, came from Indianapolis, moved over to St. Louis in 1957 to join the Budweiser bowling team. But more interesting than that, after Weber, the great Don Johnson came out of Kokomo, Indiana, to win 27 PBA titles. Mike Audi came out of Indianapolis to win either 26 or 27 titles, and now Tackett with 25 titles. To the best of my knowledge, is the only state in bowling history that has had 4 gentlemen that have been born there, bowled there, raised there, to win 25 or more titles. Now, New York, obviously, had Petraglia and Roth, but that's it. No other bowler from the state of New York won over 25 times. Of course, New Jersey had Parker Bone. Very interesting statistic. 4 bowlers from the state of Indiana winning 25 or more PBA titles. It's a good trivia question for all of you some night that have a little party and want to throw some names out there. Of course, I was fortunate enough in my life to bowl against Weber Johnson in PBA match play. Never bowled against Mike Albee. He came out long after I quit. I'm trying to think though, I might have bowled him in 1990 in the PBA Touring Player Doubles. Michael and I made the finals in Las Vegas. I might have bowled against him and Steve Cook. They might have made that finals. I'm not sure. I don't. My son would know. I'd have to get a hold of Michael and find out. I'm going to find out. I'd like to see if I did bowl against Albee and Cook and Pete Weber. I don't remember if they made that match play or not. But boy, I got to find that out. That'd be a very interesting stat for me personally. Sort of a different year on the PBA Tour with several new stars making it. Timmy Tan, Tim Foy, Ryan Barnes. New bowlers making it, and it's an interesting stat, but one thing's for certain, they can't beat EJ Tackett. EJ Tackett is gifted, and right now is he on a roll like no other in bowling history. Just bear with me a moment. He could be the first bowler, obviously, since Belmonte, and to win 3 Bowler of the Year races, and he's still under 30 years of age. Most amazing thing is, he's the youngest ever to get to 25 titles. It's starting to get scary when you really think about it, because, you know, Belmonte's slowly but surely sliding down the mountain. He's certainly capable of winning. There's no doubt about it. But he's not what he was. And there's nobody challenging Tackett. Now, last year it was close, but right now he's running away after 4 tournaments with a major and a second win in 4 weeks. And it looks like he's unstoppable. And if he goes on to win this year and gets to 28 or 29 wins, he's too short of Belmonte, who leads the tour in wins. So he's only 6 behind him, I believe, as we start tonight's show.
We playing cards?
Well, if he would win 3 more times and Belmonte doesn't win, it's conceivable he could go around Belmonte next year. And from then on, you know, it's Roth and Bone and Duke and Earl and Walter Ray and Petey Weber. They're the only ones in front of him if he goes around Belmonte. It's going to be interesting watching his career. He's a very nice young man, wonderful wife.
Good evening, it's your favorite mystery collector. I am collecting mystery tonight on
They're at a
lane
bowling
19,
center in
mystery
Indiana.
on lane 19.
He also went to string machines. Him and his family put strings in their facility in Indiana, which obviously is great publicity for string machines to have DJ Tackett's family going to those machines. I'm sure they might have been given a little offer they couldn't refuse, but that's part of bowling. Obviously, the industry that produces those would want those machines in Tackett's facility. And hey, if I was going to open a bowling center today and they made me an offer, I'd take it in a minute. Are you kidding? That's the way to go. There's Lisa Ward, Ricky Ward's wife. Nice to see Lisa with us tonight. Ricky Ward feeling real good, back to work, had a heart attack. Had major surgery, stents put in, he's fine, in great shape, working again. So, welcome back to the Bulldog in his store. Ricky Ward, one of the many pro shops from Naples to Fort Charlotte in our region. I think there's 10 pro shops between Naples and Port Charlotte. That's a lot in an 80-mile run. And I had stores here from 2002 to 2011, and then when I turned 62, that was enough. I kind of felt then that I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, part-time, if I were ever to do it again, yeah, you know, 5-10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, yeah, probably I'd do it. But it's a demanding job to go in and go 12 to 8 every day, 6 days a week, 5 days a week, and then you got your weekends. There were many weeks I was working 50, 55 hours a week in that stretch. I got burned out. I couldn't do it. Just wore me out. Yeah, we're very excited about Uncle Don's Light Paradise Vintage. This is the first time since I've been live streaming in August of 23 that we went Saturdays and Sundays with 2 new sponsors, and Mako Auto Body, a nationally renowned company, will be sponsoring here in March. They're adding 250 to one of our events. So we're real happy with the added money. I'm sure the bowlers that win are going to be real happy. It's nice to get that added money in there. You know, as I was watching the tournament this weekend and watching Don Barrett, who is really a class act, Don Barrett bowled here and bowled Brad Stewart a match about 5 years ago here. That was that stretch of time that Stewart was doing some action bowling, and during a 1 year period, he bowled 3 U.S. Open winners in this house. 3 games for 500 matches. He bowled Don Barrett, Chris Barnes, and Rhino Page. I don't believe we'll ever see that again in this facility. The odds of it are slim and none. The reason he was able to get Barnes and Barrett was the PBA Tournament Champions was being held in Melbourne, or Jupiter, and the World Series of Bowling, I believe, was there. And those guys came over here to bowl the Eddie Foods Open. And Rhino Page, that was an interesting one. He was here selling his bowling ball. He was repping a ball brand and he came in here and put some balls in our store when Ricky Ward was managing it. So 3 times in a period of time, money matches against U.S. Open winners at Lightning Strikes. And that's a statistic that might last a while for most U.S. Open winners to bowl action in a bowling center in Southwest Florida. And of course, our own Mike Cannington handed out the jacket to E.J. Tackett 3 weeks ago. Tackett is the Vice President of the United States Bowling Congress. That is quite a honor. There's only one man higher. Dennis Hacker is the president now, and Cannington, who lives here and sponsored leagues in this house 25 years ago when he worked for Hooters. The Hooters League was here. Cannington filled the house, had 55-man teams in that league, 250 bowlers back in the early 2000s. Put a lot of money into that Hooters League. That was a big-time league. It's when I first moved here. So we've had our share of greatness here. Of course, McNeil leading the nation last year. Bukowski winning the Senior Masters last year. So we're, even though we are a small association, Southwest Florida, compared to many of the monsters, you know, Orlando, Tampa, in this state, Miami, and of course, across the United States, so many associations with more membership than we have. But we've had our share of prestige. A lot of unique little tidbits there. I think McNeil leading the nation last year, along with Alshire 10 years ago, were 2 of the greatest performances we will ever have. Leading 1 million bowlers in a league season, to me, is an unbelievable feat. Leading every single sanctioned bowler in this country in league average. I don't believe it's ever happened in New England, where I'm from. I don't know, but I don't think it's happened there. We will be live streaming the City Association tournament here, ladies and men, Saturday and Sunday, next month in March. Just inked that deal with Bobby Taylor. Again, another honor for me to be able to live stream another USBC event. Did the men's state here in October and November. Now the Southwest Florida City Tournament here in March. Robert McDonald's on. Of course, for those of you that watched our three-man triples tournament on Saturday, watching Dustin Browning was absolutely thrilling. I got to be honest with you, that's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. He had 34 strikes, an 8-pin and a 9-pin for 878. Started off with 300, went 11 in a row, left a solid 8 for 299. At 599 going into game 3 and shot 279. He made it look easy, but it's not easy. That is the second highest set ever bowled in the Southwest Florida Bowling Association. Lauren Trenhill still holding that honor with 879. So Browning came within 1 pin of that record. Of course, it's not sanctioned. We do not sanction our events. There's some very good reasons for that. Don't want to get into it, but the majority of weekend tournaments in this country do not sanction anymore. So it will not go down as a house record officially, but unofficially it is. That's the highest 3 games ever bowled here in any event on a score sheet. But officially not the case because it was not sanctioned. So we did bowl Albee and Cook Good. I did not know that. Thank you for telling me that, Larry. Again, it was 35 years ago that we made that finals, and I don't have any paperwork on it. I would have figured they would have made it. You know, it took 24 teams, and at that time, those guys were in their prime. Scott Cooper watching this evening. Yeah, so far. All right, Wayne. Ryan Constantine had 300 yesterday, so number 10 from what I read on Facebook. Young two-hander right there. Big Rob Thoron, welcome aboard, Rob. Thank you for joining us. Again, everybody, this weekend, make sure you stay tuned. It could be very exciting on Saturday. The bowlers will bowl 3 games, 4-man teams. Top 4 will bowl 1 game. $500 added. Christina Collins, I was watching her last week, and I was really impressed with her game. You can see right here, she started with 6 in a row, left to week 10. And she's got a good game. I had not seen her bowl much in recent years here, but she can bowl. Oops, got the Litchi kiss on that one. Whoa! That's how you lose a fan real quick. She strikes 6 times, I put the camera on her, week 10 miss. Ah, that's a Litchi kiss, folks. You just saw it live and in color. Well, she started with 6. I should have left the camera off her. And of course, this grandmother right here on 45, I find it hard to believe, but the great Chrissy Stewart, who has the highest 3 games in this association for a lady, and she gets the Litchi kiss. Oh, God help me. I put it on Christina, week 10. I put it on Chrissy, 7-10. The next woman I put it on is going to have the 5-7-10, and I'm going to shut the cameras off and go home. Unbelievable. That's not fair. Had 2 opens early. All the balls I'll bet her in the pocket too. She don't ever miss the pocket. Dorian Hickton on, welcome aboard, Dorian. Mike Quirk counting the kisses tonight. Thank you, Mike Quirk, so much. Between you and Richard Rump, you know, you're ruining my evenings. I want you to know that. You know, I come in here all pumped up, and the next thing I know, you guys are counting kisses. And now I'm scared to move the cameras because I don't know who I want to give it to on this next one. right here now. We got Carl and Rob with 5. Let's see what happens. Tonight we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Get a full house tonight. I think we're 46 teams tonight. We do have open bowling on 1 and 2. We use 3 and 4 as a buffer pair in case there's a breakdown. Then normally most leagues do not want the open bowlers next to them, so there's always a pair lane shut down, which has to be costly. You know, if you think about it, you're shutting them down for 36 weeks. And let's say you could make 100 a night if you opened them up. So it costs you $3,600 plus food to shut them down. But with a 46 team league and added money, that's the right thing to do. But it's interesting because most proprietors do not like shutting their lanes down at night. I don't blame them. Shutting them down, you can't make any money. Carl Fisher here on 5 in a row. I was talking to Carl earlier tonight when he came in. Throws the ball pretty good. Hold it. No. Got to get it off the hand. Closed it down a little bit and pulled it. Got to give it some room. Joe Panko's on. Well, we got the historian on, my psychiatrist on. All I need now is my cardiologist and my radiologist, and I'll have them all with me. Robert Wukash coming up on 5 here, formerly out of Houston, Texas, now living here in Fort Myers. And he gets a Litchi kiss. That's it. I'm going home, folks. Good night, everybody. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow evening. April, we will have our first proprietors event in the history of that event on string machines here at Headpins in Naples. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of bowlers have not bowled on those yet. And this is a scratch event. David Stolfer has won the most proprietor events in history. I think he's won 6 times. Lee Ratchin twice, John Rakoski twice, or 3 times. A very prestigious event here in Southwest Florida. It'll be the second time that a major string event will be held. Last May, the PBA had its first tournament ever on strings at Lehigh Lanes. So, which will be the second time in less than a year, a major scratch event in a very strong field. Oops! Now that's a litchy kiss. There it is, folks, the Lily. Lane 26 is known for the Lily. I sit right behind it, so I'm responsible for that as well. That's 4 kisses tonight in 8 frames. The Lily, folks. It looks like a lily, doesn't it? See if she can make 2 of them. Come on. No. The Lily. I left the Lily a couple times in my life, 2 times. Both times in practice. I never left it in competition. Thank God. Can't believe in a little less than 2 months, Robert Eddy's owned this bowling center for 6 years. I've said this many times with all of you, but I, like everyone else, felt when he bought it that he had no chance. And believe me, that was the majority of the consensus locally, that why would somebody have done this? And I guess some people have this ability to have a vision where no one believes it but them. And I've seen it before. I also had it happen myself. When I quit being a touring player and I became player service director of the tour, no one had ever drilled balls before me out there. And I had this feeling that I could make a good living doing it. I didn't know I'd make $20,000 a week doing it. And I didn't know that I would drill 16,000 balls in my business in 1993. I never dreamed I'd have numbers like that. But when I started doing it, a lot of people questioned my sanity. And they would say to me, Litchie, what are you doing? You were a great bowler. Why are you doing this? Tell them the truth. I needed guaranteed income. Bowling for a living had burned me out. There were times where I didn't cash for a month. I had a wife and a kid. We didn't have any money. There was one period of time where I was driving a car that was extinct. They didn't even make them anymore. I'll never forget, I needed a hydraulic clutch. and I couldn't find one for it, so I hooked a rope up to the bar coming out of the transmission, and I shifted the car in its 4 gears by pulling a rope. I actually put it on the pressure plate arm and activated the clutch, put a rope on it, and got the pressure plate to activate the clutch in a 4-speed French car called a Simca, S-I-M-C-A. And I owned it in the fall of '83. The only thing I really liked about it was it had a good heater. It really kept you nice and toasty in there. But when you got to a stoplight, the only way you could get it in gear was to pull the rope, and that would activate the clutch. But you could shift second, third, and fourth by feeling the shifter in and getting your engine to equal the revs of the clutch, but not at a stoplight. I'll never forget it. That's how broke we were. An extinct car that made me go to work real quick. I made $20,000 a week, Joe. Joe, if you were drilling 500 balls a week and you were making $40 a ball, Joe, that's $20,000 a week. My operating costs were $10,000 a week for my business on the road. I had 5 men. They were making $5,000 a week. Just the chauffeur's insurance and health insurance and workman's comp, and you had to have good insurance for your men on that road. That was about $70,000 a year. So it cost $500,000 to run the business, 50 tournaments a year. And the rest was mine. $20,000 a week on the winter tour stops was very common. Keep in mind, every January and February, the ball companies would introduce 20 new balls, and they would hand out 500 balls a week. Them first 3, I'll never forget the first 3 stops of 1995, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Reno. Those first 3 spots, we drove 2,100 bowling balls at $40 a ball. We made $80,000 in 3 weeks. A lot of money. I'd like to know where it went. That's the problem. No, I'm not making it up. One thing I can tell you about the numbers back then, keep in mind, those were the second and third year of resin balls, and the market was flooded by Brunswick, AMF, Columbia Ebonite, and Storm, and Track. Those were the big companies of that day. There was no DV8, there was no, and Ebonite, of course. There was no 900 Global, there was Rotogrip, they were not a factor. The big brands were Brunswick, Ebonite, AMF, Columbia Track, and Storm, and Lane 1. They made the Buzzsaw line of balls. And they were extremely generous to the players weekly. Brunswick was handing out right at about right about 5,000 balls a year for free. Ebonite was at about 4. That was 9 right there. No, I would say Brunswick 5, Ebonite maybe 3,500. Maybe Brunswick was 4,500. But between Brunswick and Ebonite back then, it was at least 8,000 balls given out through my business. So at $40 a ball, that was 320,000 right there. It's big money. Figure running 2 18-wheelers down the road and an RV, that was $50,000 a year for the payments and the fuel. It was an expensive business. I wasn't counting repairs, maintenance, oil changes, road taxes. It's crazy what it costs to run the road. One of the craziest stories, I've told it before, the 95 year AMF came out with the XS. And John Mazza was on the AMF staff. John Mazza was a great bowler. Should be inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame soon in the veterans category. And Johnny liked to drill a lot of bowling balls. And when the XS came out, they were introduced in Sawgrass, Florida that week. It was in early March. It was hot. The balls got delivered and they put them outside my 18-wheeler. They put about 25 cases that first time they, 40 cases. They sent about 160 balls to that first tournament. And John drilled 16 on Tuesday, 16 on Wednesday, 16 on Thursday, drilled 48 for the tournament, didn't cash, and coming on Friday, decided to drill 8 more to have them ready for Baltimore. So that was 56. And on Monday at Baltimore, he drilled 8 more to make 64 in 7 days. Keep in mind, the bowlers gave me $32 a ball, the ball companies gave me 8. So John drilled 64 balls at $32 a ball, which was $2,000 in ball drilling in an 8-day period. And then I got $8 a ball from the ball company for hauling them and having them available in my trucks. So he set the record for most balls drilled in a 1-week period. 64. That might not ever be broken. Although I did hear that Stu Williams, 1 week, a year or 2 ago, drilled 40 in a 1-week period. Again, the first thing you'd ask yourself is what are they looking for that they haven't found after 10 balls? Never mind 20 or 30 or 40. Can you imagine drilling 40 and you're still drilling? Yeah, okay, I got it. For what? Jim Argy's on. Jim Argy's going to be in Orlando, so he's going from Martha's Vineyard to Orlando. That'll be culture shock. Going from the ice bowl to the heat bowl.
I was like, heck yeah. I didn't know, this is actually my first action shoot, so I saw him actually while I was out there. Oh, faster. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah. I wear mostly the tournaments now. I guess ball down.
Harry Wright is up. What's up, Harry Wright?
You, Steve? Forbes' team. Yeah, it's Forbes' team. All together. So. All right, I'll see you around, all right? Oh, yeah.
Don't forget this weekend, Uncle Don's Light, 500 added Saturday, Paradise Vintage Market, 250 added Sunday. Starting in March, Mako Auto Body adding 250 to our events. We are thrilled and honored to be introducing 3 new tournament sponsors.
Folks, this is last call for mystery behind lane 19 and 20. Last call for mystery. We're at $166.
Oh no, they changed surfaces back then. They changed, obviously layouts were not as advanced as they are today, but of course you can use weight holes back then. So you had a lot of balls with holes, some without, some pin up, some pin down, some pin left, some pin right. Mass bias balls, those were a mass bias ball. They were a big block. When I think back to that age, which was only the 3rd year of resin, full year, every company except for Hammer had resin by then. Hammer decided not to have resin, which literally tanked them. They were the #1 urethane ball going into the 92 year. And when Excalibur came out, Excalibur became great. Columbia bought the formulation for the summer of 93 or 92. The ball companies started to come up with resin. By 93, everybody had it but Hammer. And each year that went by, Hammer's popularity was less and less. But by 95, the technology had advanced considerably. And keep in mind, AMF was a major player. Bob Learn's record was set with an AMF ball. Brunswick was a major player. Petraglia had 394 in Toledo with it for $100,000. So, the ball companies did very well. That's a good shot there. Hold it. Attaboy, Carl. So now, at the beginning of every winter, the name of the game was to introduce new balls and try to get them on television. And the minute a ball would make TV, sell 20,000 on Monday if it was the right company, the right ball. And Storm came in. Storm started to do very well. They started to make TV, not a lot, but for a new company, they made their mark. This is the 30th year of Storm. Of course, they bought out the Roto-Grip label. Carl throwing that shot good. Oops. Almost left a 5-10 on a half hit there. Pretty good game. Of course, since then, these things have become ultra powerful. Those balls of 30 years ago to today, there is no comparison. Keep in mind, the oils are so much heavier than back then. I mean, viscosity is double what it was in 95. In 95, the oil was still very thin. Now it's like gear oil. A lot of players back then, including Mark Roth, Marshall Holman, did not like resin. They felt they had an advantage with their power, and when resin came in, people that normally never really hooked the ball a lot could hook it as much as Roth. And a lot of people feel the most beneficial bowler of all at that time was Walter Ray Williams, because he did not hook the ball a lot, and he was a great player, but he was not real good on the third arrow. did not have a high rev rate, and he would, leave a lot of off-pocket hits, leave a lot of weak 10s, Wally 7s, occasional back row. But when he got the resin in his hand, he was so gifted he could cup his wrist a little more and tilt it, and all of a sudden he got 7-8 boards farther left than he had before then. And a lot of people believe, including myself, that ball lengthened his career. His accuracy was never a question. His shot making was never a question. The power and impact was. And when that ball gave him that movement on the back end, he took to that like a duck to water. And boy, he had some unbelievable years. What a fantastic bowler. Week after week, just pounding the pocket. It was amazing to watch. Even after I left in 96, I remember watching on TV, 97, 207, that 10-year run. I mean, he made well over $1 million. Probably made $2 million. The guy was unstoppable. And, rightfully, a lot of people feel he's the greatest bowler ever lived. I don't know. I watched Earl for those 14 years. I never saw anything from 70 to 84 or 83 like I saw with Earl. Earl had 140 first, seconds, and thirds. 140. That ain't counting fourths through tenths. But one thing's for certain, take a guy like Walter Ray, Earl, Norm Duke, Petey, Roth, Parker Bone, no one can doubt their greatness regardless of their equipment. No one. Keep in mind, Anthony did win with everything. He won with rubber, he won with urethane, and of course, resin wasn't out then. And Albie won with rubber, plastic, urethane, and resin. Came along at the perfect time to do that. Walter Ray won with rubber, plastic, urethane, and resin. Pete Weber won with all three, I believe. I believe Weber won with, I know he won with plastic and urethane and resin. I don't know if he won with rubber. That might be an interesting one there. I don't know. He might have. Those guys were the best. Duke, plastic, urethane, and resin. I find it hard to believe that Duke quit. He was still great when he quit. But everybody has that time in their life where they've had enough. I mean, it's just the nature of sports. I'm sure his body gave out, probably in the hips and the shoulders, the wrists and the elbows. He kept waking up in the morning and saying, "Oh my God, what did I do to my body?" He's not that big a guy. All those shots, 1 million shots, you don't know. Could be knees, ankles, hips, who knows? Again, don't forget everybody, this Saturday, Uncle Don's Beer Paradise Vintage Market. We're so excited. be on the air both days at 1:15. 750 added this weekend, 500 Saturday, 250 Sunday, and in March, Mako Auto Body coming in, our third new sponsor. We're still looking, so for all of you interested, if you're interested in our sponsorship packages, get a hold of me or Donnie here at Lightning Strikes, and we'll fill you in. Again, we want to thank those new sponsors, along with Oaks Farms, iRoof, Audi, all of our local team sponsors, and our local scoring unit sponsors. Thank you so much for coming aboard with this. The Orange Groceries, Bowler's Mart, Coolwick, the list goes on and on. If you look down here where our scoring units are, I can't see the ones 1 through 4. Normally they would be popping up right now. 1 through 4 camera is not working. And in March, we will be live streaming the Southwest Florida City Tournament here at Lightning Strikes. Again, it's not a big field, but anytime it's USBC, the fact that most of those directors bowl here, Wayne, Bobby Taylor, Danny Hyam, we want to do what we can to build that event up for them. So for those of you interested, the Southwest Florida City Tournament, sign-ups are going on right now. We'd like to get it up to about 500 entries for that weekend. That would be great if we could. Great group of directors here, many of them 30 years and up. McFarland and Hyam and Taylor, between them, over 100 years. Those three guys alone as local directors, want to congratulate them on their great careers. You know, they were the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. I have a Saturday Night Live story that I'm sure you guys will love. In 1992, at Carolier Lanes, Franny Lee came out to my 18-wheeler. Gorgeous, beautiful woman. And Nelson Burton Jr. introduced me to Franny Lee. And Franny Lee was the costume designer for Saturday Night Live. She designed the Conehead outfits and the outfits that Bellucci wore when they went cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. She did those outfits. She did the Coneheads and several others. She was an avid bowler, 170 average bowler, and she came out to my 18-wheeler and we drilled her a ball, and she was there for the ABC telecast that Saturday as a guest of Nelson Burton and Chris Schenkel. And she was very nice. I liked her. Very beautiful woman. And I looked, she's still alive. I read about her on Facebook, and we drilled her a ball. And in the early shows of Saturday Night Live, there is her name as the costume designer, and I had a chance to know her. So all because she bowled. I mean, she didn't know who I was. She didn't come there to see me. That was obvious. But what a thrill it was to talk to her. She was really cool and very pretty. And I was asking her about Aykroyd and Belushi and what it was like to work with them, and Lauren Michaels, and what's the one that died young? Rosanna Dana. I asked her about all that original crew, Bill Murray, Eddie Murphy, and she was very funny about talking about those people, knew them all very well. Franny Lee, costume designer for Saturday Night Live. Imagine being a costume designer for Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Steve Martin. Tell me that wouldn't be a fun job. Rosanna Dana. Boy, was she funny. Gilda Radner. Oh, was she hilarious. Art Charbini's on. Welcome aboard, Art. Harry Wright, you got Marshall Holman's bag at the 79 World Open. Oh my God. Boy, did I love the World Open. I used to make 10,000 every single World Open, long before urethane and resin. At 75, 76, 77 events, they'd send 200 LT-48s out. By then I was making about $30 a ball. I make 6,000 just in LTs. And amazingly enough, the Brunswick balls given out back then at their event, no one got turned down. If you were a non-staff member, you could literally go out and get 2-3 balls drilled at every World Open. So when they came out with the Rhinos in '86, I think at the World Open they handed out 400 Rhinos. They would just drop ship off 200 cases, 150 cases. They didn't care. They gave them away like they were candy bars. Keep in mind, in the heyday of Brunswick, they made Bayliner, Sea Ray, Mercury Motors, and that represented 3% of their business. Bayliner, Sea Ray, Mercury, and Brunswick brands represented 3% of the business of Brunswick. A major defense contractor, 95% of their money was defense contracts. Big time company there, boy. Mike Boyd right there, one of our USBC directors. A very dedicated group here. To watch them during the Florida State Tournament, I watched quite a bit. A lot of people don't know my hobby is watching. Not as a spy, but as someone who is just intrigued by what goes on in all facets of bowling. And the dedication of our local director team is fascinating. Every one of them are really into it. I mean, you can tell they're very proud of being directors, and I like saying that because I feel it when I see it, that there's a pride factor involved. That's why I'm excited about doing the city tournament here. Again, it's time for everybody that's left to band together to keep the sport as strong as possible. And I've been a critic of the USBC in many instances, but now that I'm in their Hall of Fame, and the fact that I work for a very progressive proprietor, and the fact that I know a lot of their directors here locally, I have decided that I could change. Instead of looking for something wrong, try to look for something right. It's okay to do that, And what I like is the dedication. I mean, these guys work all week. They all have jobs, and every one of them, and they bowl a lot of leagues. They run a lot of tournaments, and they do everything they can to support the local proprietors. We got several of them that bowl here. Many bowl several at Lehigh, several at Bolero. All avid bowlers. Yes, Hilda Radner was Gene Wilder's wife. Died very young. That was a tragedy. A young lady. She died. I was watching the news, yesterday and the day before, that plane crash. I've never seen anything like that in my life. How 80 people could walk away from that is beyond comprehension. I mean, the thing's on fire, it loses a wing with its fuel tanks, and it doesn't blow up, and no one's in critical condition, and it's upside down on a runway. My God. We didn't have a crash for 24 years. All of a sudden, in 3 weeks, that horrible crash over the Potomac. And this one in Toronto could have easily been, 80 people dying, easily. That thing could have blown up there on the ground. They all would have died. Everybody got off. I cannot believe it. Bobby Taylor, our local leader. Bobby Taylor took over for a man by the name of Bob Peters, who was a legend here in Southwest Florida at USBC. Bob Peters ran the USBC here for over 40 years, and Bobby Taylor came in when Mr. Peters passed about 5 years ago. But he's done a great job following the footsteps of a legend. It's not that easy.
Alrighty, folks, it's time to call that first game mystery. I know we got a couple of new people in it tonight, so make sure you grab that scorecard. And our first number tonight is a 94. 94. All right, let's try a 187. 187. All right, let's try 96. 96. All right, let's try 230. 230. Anyone? 230?
You know, this winter coming up very shortly will be the anniversary, the 50-year anniversary of Mark Roth's first win. And I hope Denise Roth is listening. I was there that day when he bowled 299 in Kansas City, leaving a solid 4 on a great shot. And it was his first win.
That is not you.
And we all knew he was going to win. The question was when. And I happened to be fortunate enough to not have to leave early from Kansas City that weekend. And sat there in awe. I believe it was in February of 1975. Not February, early March, but it's 50 years from now over the next few weeks. And I was thinking about that. It was my first winter drilling balls on tour. And several guys had made TV and told the nation that I was the reason, including Jay Robinson, Dave Davis, and Dick Weber. And they're all gone now. Every one of those guys gave Larry Lichstein accolades that helped get me in my comp ball program. Later on that winter, I bought my bus in May of '75 and came out that summer with a rolling pro shop. And those guys were some of the main reasons for that, because they told the nation that I was the reason they got to TV. And that had never happened to me before then, obviously. I owned a pro shop and I was a pro bowler, but no one ever said I was the reason for them making a PBA telecast. And I think of Dick and Mark and Dave with all of you tonight because, everybody has a start, in a sport, and it's the people that coached you or backed you or managed you, college coaches with kids that become pros, baseball coaches in Little League with kids that get to the major leagues. In my case, those pros told the nation that I was a great ball driller and layout master, and I was the reason they won or made television. It was all this winter 50 years ago. And so many of them are gone. I often wonder, how I got lucky and beat cancer twice and a heart condition. I'm still here. I'm pretty healthy. I mean, I can keep going. I'm active. Very fortunate to be with all of you and work here for Robert Eddy and be with our bowlers. Somehow I'm able to keep holding on. February 23rd, Larry. I knew you'd find that for me, Larry. Thank you. I knew it was coming. I didn't know exactly when. Terry Miller Havazan, welcome aboard, Terry. Thank you for joining us tonight, my dear. You know, back in that day, keep in mind, everything was rubber or plastic. You know, everything was a pancake weight block. There was no design anything remotely close to today's equipment. However, static weight was very important, and grips were very important because you had to manipulate the ball as much as you could on your own. Today it's a little different, of course. The ball gives you so much more movement and power. And back then you had to do it with your hand. So the art of changing a grip was very unique simply because no one could do it on tour before me. They didn't have the facility or the know-how and the trust of the players. Well, once I started drilling for those guys, and I told everybody I was the reason they made TV, well, they all started coming to me. It was unbelievable. It went from nothing to within a year I was drilling for 100 stars, and many times I had to change their grip to get them to tilt it. Get it to come off their hand differently. And it was fun. It was absolutely an honor. I think with all of them, I think when Weber told the nation in March of '75 that I was the best ball driller he ever went to in his life, I think that's the one there that got me over the hump. And then Davis won the Miller Open, and later on that winner of the tournament champions, and told every single bowling writer in the press room after the telecast that I was the reason he won, that I changed his grip and gave him weights he never used before, and if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have won. He said if it wasn't for Larry, I wouldn't be here. And after he won the tournament champions, he gave me a $1,000 tip, and I went home. I made about $10,000 that winter, and I bought a bus with it and outfit it. And by the end of the summer of '75, I was getting 100 comp balls a week, making $2,000 a week, $20 a ball. And now it's 50 years later. Terry, I would like to do that, but I have decided, and I don't say this for any other reason than the one I'm going to give you. My days of traveling are pretty much over, whether it be the tournament champions, the USBC Hall of Fame inductions, or Bowl Expo. I'm not going to say afraid, but I'm concerned about my health. And I really want to be in an area where if I have any issues, I can immediately have my doctors involved. But you know what? I would love to do it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to go out there and drill some balls and see some people and go to those functions again. But you know, there's a time in your life where it all ends, whether it be health or other reasons, and it's passed me by. You know, it's for younger people. I'm real happy on my couch with my 3 cats purring, a plate of Chinese food, and working on my old RV that I'm going to start driving on Monday. Hopefully it won't break down. I bought this old 51-year-old V. I got it for nothing. I paid a bunch of money to get it towed up here, $600 to get it towed here. And I've been working on it 6 months, and it looks 50 years old. Just like me, it's got wrinkles, no hair. But it's all me. I brought her back to life. Lou Rinaldi's on. Lou Rinaldi called me today, his phone went out, then he called me again, then his phone went out. Then I took a nap and my phone went out. I will say this, Terry. I would bet you that I would shock some people on how fast I can drill a ball. Now, if some ball company, which would never happen in a million years, said they want to bring me out as a sleeper, and they'll pay the tab, I would go out and take a shot at it. And I just might win it. But like most older Hall of Famers, they'd have to coax me. And quite frankly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they spent as much money on me as they possibly could have. I don't think I'm at the top of their list as far as investing. Although Joe Poe's got me. How's that, huh? Imagine that. Jerry put me on his staff in September of 23 and now hired E.J. Tackett. Imagine Larry Lichtenstein and E.J. Tackett are on the same staff. You know what the odds are of that, don't you? The odds of my hair growing back are more favorable than that. I find that remarkable simply because that guy there is absolutely, other than Belmonte, he's the greatest since Walter Ray, him and Belmonte. And of course Duke, they're the greatest since Duke and Walter Ray, Petey, and Parker. You got to figure they are that next great group that's still active. Somehow Jerry signed EJ. EJ's real smart for going to Joe Poe, no doubt in my mind. Lou, I could still bump him out pretty quick. I could drill a ball if I got in rhythm on an Ovalmatic. If we all had to use Ovalmatics, not vacuum jigs, if we all had to use Ovalmatics, I would say 3 holes in 2 minutes. Now, if I had to use a vacuum jig, the switches, I got in rhythm with the switches. I'd say I don't know. I think I could drill 3 holes and change bits in 1 minute. What do you think? I think I could change bits and drill 3 holes in 60 seconds. And if I did it, I'd shock them. Imagine the bookmakers come up with a line, Larry Lichtenstein, 60 seconds and over under. What do you think the line would be? A 75-year-old man popping 3 holes in 60 seconds. contest is free. The winner gets a new mill drill? Wow. There's probably some kid that could probably drill him in 25 seconds. You know, I watched Adam Barta throw 194 strikes in an hour. Most people do that will die of a heart attack. I watched him huffing and puffing with 10 minutes to go, taking deep breaths, his face red, and I mean red. And I watched something in October of 16 that I will never see in my. I watched 194 strikes in 60 minutes. I want you to think about that, folks. And the rules, you know, were all Guinness World Book of Record rules. The requirements were you got, I think, 3 15-minute or 15-second breaks or 3 20-second breaks and 2 1-minute breaks in the hour, done by a timekeeper logged in. I mean, everything had to be logged and cameraed. I mean, they had all these requirements while you were doing it, because if you broke a rule, they would disqualify you for setting the record. There was requirements, and I watched him follow all the requirements. 194 strikes in 60 minutes. Including the last 17 in a row to break the record. Julio's on. Julio winning last week. Nice to watch Julio win. Lou Rinaldi runs 8 miles. I can picture it now, Lou. Lou, how the hell can you run 8 miles? Is there something wrong with you? You're 77 years old, Lou. Unbelievable. 8 miles in one soccer game at the age of 77. Oh my God. Eight miles. Let me tell you something. I run 80 feet. There's going to be a stretcher on foot 81 waiting for me. 8 miles? Lou, there's something wrong with you, Lou. We have to do a brain check. Wow, 8 miles. That's unbelievable. Well, let's see if we got anybody shooting 300 here. We haven't had one in this league in a long time, and normally, you know, with people like Cross and Stouffer and Boog Snyder, and you know, there's a pretty good list in this. Mike Boyd. There's plenty of people that could shoot 300 in this league, but unfortunately tonight, I don't see much. Hey, look at this, Rafael Augusto. Let's stay right here and watch Rafi Augusto. Check this out. He had a big first game too. I'm pretty sure that's Rafi. Let's see if it is. Like I said a few weeks ago, he's coming into his own. This is a young man that 2-3 years ago he was 160, 165 average. He was all over the place. And he's becoming a good bowler in his life. He's figuring it out. He's very aggressive. He's bowling tournaments on weekends, bowling 2-3 nights a week, and obviously, when you get a younger man that has the desire to get good, and they start to pay their dues like that, you know, they have some potential. Yep, that's Raphael coming up with Fleisinger. Notice the head down, watching the feet, see it? Get set, keep that elbow in. Wow. That's pretty good. Pretty quick, too, if you'll notice. He don't take much time. Solid 479 for a goose. Chris Owens now, who had 300 earlier this year, throwing the ball very well. He's been around a while, took about 10 years off, and started to bowl again, throwing the ball. It was a very nice game, and was an excellent bowler as a young man, and had a career and a family, and slowed it down a little bit. Now he's bowling again in his life. And he can bowl. Very deliberate. His dad was a good bowler in his day. I knew his dad, Obi. Attaboy, look at that stroke. All right, Chris Owens. We'll come back and watch him. What do you got? What are those?
Crash and Luella.
Who?
Luella and Crash.
Luella? And who? That looks like me after driving on the road after a couple all-nighters. That's what kind of an accident was this thing in?
When you get home, you have to chop the chicken.
Oh, God help me. These are my only two fans, folks. These are the only two people that like my show. Thank you, TJ, for bringing my audience to me. I get 2 views a week. They're both chickens. Robert Eddy got the worst of that deal. He's paying me to have chickens watch me. Larry Stella's ready for trivia. Okay. Larry Stella is ready for trivia. All right. Let me see if I could come up with a great trivia question. Let me see. I don't know. I got to think. All right, I got one for you. Now, there have been many pro bowlers that have won 3 tournaments in a row on a national tour. But there's one pro bowler that is not credited for winning 3 in a row. He won the World Open and then came out the next winter and won the first 2 stops. Okay? Won the World Open, then came out the next winter and won the first 2 stops. Who was he? And I'll tell you the story as why it wasn't credited with 3 in a row. No, it was not Don Carter. It happened many, many, many years ago. And it happened at a time where the PBA, Joanne Fody says, Don McCune, is a pretty good guess, my dear. But I'm going to tell you all the story. In 1971, Brunswick ran the very first Brunswick World Open. And because it was the last tournament of the fall tour, there was no television back then on the fall tour. But Brunswick, having the money they had and the connections they had, got CBS to televise the stepladder finals of the 1971 Brunswick World Open, of which I finished 8th. Don Johnson won the tournament, winning the World Open. Now there was a 6-week break. He came out, the first tournament of 1972 was the U.S. Open at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And he won the U.S. Open. The next tournament was Denver, Colorado, and he won Denver. So he won 3 tournaments in a row on 2 different tours. The fall tour of 71 and the winter of 72. And the PBA never counted it as 3 in a row. And I have no idea why. None whatsoever. I don't know why. Because all those tournaments counted for him winning Bowler of the Year in 71 and 72. But that was the first time I saw it. Live, I bowled those events. Number one, it was amazing because no one had ever done it. I think Weber had done it in 65 and won 3 in a row in 1965. Johnson was the next one to do it, 71 and 72. And then it went many, many, many years. And then Roth did it in 78. It's not been done a lot. But ended one tour with 1, started the next tour 6 weeks later with 2. Like Norm Duke's 900. 300 in game 8 of the morning block at Carolier and 300 in games 1 and 2 of the night. No, 300 in games 7 and 8 of the morning block at Carolier. Waited 2.5 hours and shot 300 the first game of the night block. 3 300s in a row, 3 hours apart. Larry Stellis is Don Johnson. Larry Stellis from another world, ladies and gentlemen. He was dropped down here from space in order to be the historian on my show. And I'm trying to figure out who's making who famous. Is he making me famous or am I making him famous? I think he's making himself famous. I think now that people realize his gift nationally, this young man will finally get really what he deserves, which is a remarkable thank you for having the desire in order to do this the way he does it. Not many people have that passion that I know. In fact, I don't know anybody that has the passion like him. Amazing. What do you mean, no? What does no mean? No what? I'll tell you one thing. I've been around a long time. Everybody knows that. I don't know anybody that can do what Larry does. I'm sorry, folks. I don't know who it is. They got to tell me. I don't know who it is other than him. Making Larry famous. I'll tell you, I was famous with tow truck operators in Barstow. I was towed by the same guy in Barstow 3 different times. After a while, I think he thought it would have had to be a put on. 3 different times from 76 to 81 he towed me. 82. 3 different times. 76 to 82. He towed me out there in the Mojave Desert. I got Christmas cards from him one year. No one I know gets Christmas cards from tow truck operators. No one. I'm sorry. No one. You know, I found out the USBC directors were extremely happy with the 40,000 views we got here during the Florida State Tournament. I wanted to hear that. I wanted them to know how much we cared here at Lightning Strikes. And what an honor that was for me to host a state tournament. And the reason was, I told a lot of people this, as a kid, in my first 2 state tournaments at the age of 17, I won 4 titles. That's never, ever happened again in the state of Connecticut. I won the scratch doubles in 66 in July, and in April of 67, I won the scratch doubles, the scratch all events, and the scratch team. At the age of 17, I had 4 scratch state titles in Connecticut. There is no youngster ever to do that, ever in the history of the Connecticut state. And that's one of my proudest accomplishments, because not only were there great bowlers in our state, but they've had close to 60 years to beat the record, and they haven't. And I got to be honest with you, good luck. You find me a kid 17 years old that can do that. I don't know how I did it. I got to be honest with you. I was bowling 5,000 games a year at that time, practice. Maybe that's why. I bowled 100 games a week, every week, in 66 and 67. I figured 10,000 games those 2 years. You could say I was possessed, and you could say I'm still possessed. That's funny. Yeah, I'm an Amazon freak. They hypnotized me while I bought my RV here. I finally stopped spending money. They went into a depression. Last month my bill was like $100, but I had probably spent in September and October, November, probably $1,000 a month with them, fixing that thing up. A lot of work. Now, the other day when you folks saw the 878 for Dustin Browning, that's the second highest series I've ever seen bowled live. I saw the 899, not every frame, but I saw 899 in Bay City in 2006. And keep in mind, in game one, both David Stouffer and Browning had 300. And by the end of game three, Browning had beat Stouffer by 150 pins. 878 to 728. So, or 738, maybe 140 pins. So, when you see, one great bowler like Stouffer stay with you in game one for 300, and in the next two games he gets beat by 140. That tells all you need to know about how great Browning bowled, because Stouffer's trying to stay with him. I mean, Stouffer is here to win. When he's practicing, he's here to win. His attitude is he wants to beat everybody every time he picks the ball up. And Browning ran all over him. John Rad had a great weekend. So nice to see him bowling well. He is a wonderful man, and he bowls 7 days a week, every day. He does not miss a day when he's here, and he's gotten good, and he's dedicated. And, you see a man in his 50s bowling 7 days a week, and your first inclination is, why? Well, I'm sure other than his family and, the priorities you have, for your health and family, other than that, I think bowling is one of the most important things in his life. And there are people that are in a position to actually do that. And when I was a kid, I had that. The most important thing in my life was my bowling. And I bowled every day. And that's what got me to the tour. The problem was, once you got out there, I don't care how good you were, it was tough to make money. And you had to bowl Johnny Petraglia and Don Johnson every week, and Mark Roth and Dick Weber and Carmen Salvino and Earl Anthony for a living, Nelson Burton, Roy Buckley, Larry Lobb, and the list goes on and on. Jimmy Stefanich, Don McCune, Billy Hardwick, Barry Asher. These guys were machines. You know, I was talking earlier about some of these kids making that show. Again, Tim Foy, who's an excellent bowler, making 3 shows in a row, and Timmy Tan and Ryan Barnes. And those 3 guys all made it in that Pro Tour qualifier. Those 3 guys had to bowl that qualifier in December to be eligible to bowl the tour. And it's amazing how they're beating the major tour players that have not made TV yet, that are real good. And I think it's going to be a changing of the guard year. Other than Tackett, it seems like these new guys are not afraid. They have a great skill level, a great amount of confidence. And the formats favor them in a lot of instances because they're match play formats. They're not carryover pin formats. And that helps the newer player to bowl on 1 pair of lanes and get lined up, and you got your reps behind you. And on a game that you're losing, you can literally change balls and practice balls. Let's say a guy starts with 5 in a row and you got 3 opens and you know you're going to lose the game. Well, that's when you throw practice balls the next 5 frames. You immediately switch equipment, you move your eyes, you move your feet, because the score is meaningless. You've lost the game. There's no carryover pins, so you have time to experiment. And that is enough for a new player that when they get a look, they're ready to bowl. And these kids are winning on that format. Not every week, don't get me wrong, they change formats. The US Open did not have that format. But the match play format, I feel, gives a non-champion a better chance to win. He's not crossing pairs. He's not bowling, getting bonus pins or losing bonus pins. He's bowling to win a game. So they can go down 0-2, and while they're 0-2, they're throwing practice balls, and they're moving their eyes and feet, and they're trying to do what they can to get lined up, and then all of a sudden they can win. Well, you're not doing that in a bonus pin, carryover pin scenario. You're not throwing frames away. So that format, in my opinion, just strictly my opinion, I'm sure other people might have it, but I don't say this to put any of them down. I was a match play bowler. I love bowling on 1 pair of lanes. And that's the format of the Masters. But they're going to be a factor. These kids today are coming out there with no fear. And it's fun to watch. I like Timmy Tan. I like him. I like his act. From the Philippines. And the kid that won last week, Santu, you talk about strong. I mean, he ain't going to get tired. Going to be interesting watching him now. Carmen Salvino's act. Carmen Salvino became so famous in Chicago 70 years ago that they called him the Boy Wonder. Now keep in mind, when he started bowling, he was bowling against Ned Day and Buddy Bomar, Joe Woolman, Alfie Cohn, Andy Rogoznica. He was bowling against Chicago's and Milwaukee's great bowlers in 52, 53, 54. And he was very animated, very brash. And I think he knew at a young age that he could beat anybody in the world. And when I met him in '67, as a kid, he was very nice to me. Our first meeting, congratulated me on my bowling. And he loved my wife, Ann. And when Michael was a year old, Carmen would pick him up and hug him. He loved picking up my son. My son was in Carmen's house when he was 9 in Chicago. And Carmen was an amazing man, still alive and wonderful man. Touched the hearts of millions of Americans. Imagine being known for 8 decades. Name still resonates in the world of bowling. People still talk about Carmen Salvino.
whispered in his ear. That's it. You know
High tonight's 279, Joe. Score's a little lower tonight. You know, this league here in recent weeks, they're not really scoring. You know, other than Keefe and, you know, a handful of others, it's not a high-scoring league. It's a fun league. It's a great league for Audi and us. You know, these are very valued customers. But they don't score high. It's a fun league, and they have had some 300s, but nothing like tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's very special score-wise, but this is the second largest league in the house. Monday night we're full. Tom Fleisinger was telling me he's going to Biloxi to bowl in a tournament there. We can talk about that tonight. 770-mile ride. He said he can make it in 9 hours. I said, what? What are you talking about? He said, I can make it in 9 hours. I'll do 105 all the way. Yeah, it's okay. Well, my fellow pilgrims, if I did 105 all the way, I'd have 10 speeding tickets. They'll find me. They don't need radar. They'll just find me. I cannot speed. Today I was driving to work, and a police cruiser got behind me and stayed behind me for 5 miles on a 3-lane road doing 45 miles an hour, and he never passed me. I'm not joking. I'm looking in my rear view. I'm figuring after a mile he's going to take a left or take a right or go around me. He was behind me for 5 miles. I kept thinking, what am I doing wrong? My signal lights work, my tail lights work. I don't have any smoke coming out of the car. There's no leaking of any fuels or anything. My doors are closed. There's nobody in there with me. He stayed behind me for 5 miles. I don't drink, so I know I wasn't wobbling all over the place. Unbelievable. For those of you that want to see it again, I want to show you a little something from the other day. I think it's beautiful.
And our first number is a 262. 262. How about for 94? 94. I think I called that last game too. All right. Did anybody roll at 289? 289.
There it is right there. Alshire, Stouffer, Browning. And when you look right there, there it is. Check it out. 300, 299, 279, 258, 1136. Now 1200 is perfect.
All right, this is better. How about
It looks to me like he struck 44 of 48. I believe he struck 44 of 48 times. So, congratulations to him. Pulaski bowled great. Shot 1,032 for 4 and lost by 104 pins. Daniel Romano, the young boy from the East Coast, bowled great. But look at Stolfer at 964, got beat by 170 pins. And if you look at his first game, 300, 240, 190, 220, to Browning's 299, 279, 258. So like I was saying before, that was a remarkable showing by Dustin with all of us here at Lightning Strikes. I want to congratulate him and thank him for putting on a great show for all of us. I think anyone that's a bowler that watched that had to say, wow. You know, forget the conditions. The conditions are high scoring across the United States. 1136 for 4, that's called bombing them. Say 280 average is 1120. So 60 averaged 284 for 4 games. 284 for 4. Kelly's been bowling a big game. She got a good game. Watch her throw it. Beautiful game. She does the mystery every night. Good on the microphone, too. Check her out, ripping the rack. She didn't like it. I thought it was great. So, looks like she's got a shot at 279. She's got a beautiful game. You watch her follow through her footwork. Doesn't bowl a lot, but for 3 games a week, she throws as good as any lady in here. Those are good shots. She makes them every week. Good for her. Atta girl. Look at that shot. Oh, yeah. T-shirt bingo. Check it out. 279. That makes the ride home a real good one. There it is. Yeah. Check her out. Beautiful. Love seeing that. Perfect way to end the evening. Oh. Pulling the string on that one. Vince Machette bowled great on Sunday's event, shooting 309 pin no tap to tie with Donna Prushnik. Vince and Donna, wonderful people, avid bowlers here. Nice to see them have a good day. Donna, the mother of Mike Prushnik, who bowls on the Coastal Contractor team. They'll be bowling tomorrow night. They are leading the third 9-week segment. Evan Baranicki, Lee Ratchin, Gary Seward, Mike Prushnik. So a bowling family there, Donna and her son. Always nice to see a mother and son bowling in the same league. We have that with Chrissy Stewart and Brad. The mother and daughters with TJ and Marquilla. A lot of husbands and wives.
Starting to see your favorite.
You know, when you watch Cross when he's, and he's right, his power is effortless because of his physical strength. A very big, strong man in his prime. The footwork, along with the power that at the wrist position at the release point, is what we call an explosion. Explosion at the release point. And I've watched it the last couple of years, and regardless of is what keeps his average where it is. This condition, with oil in the middle and dry to the right, favors power. On the other hand, you got to control it. It doesn't favor it if you don't know how to control it. For instance, there are people in this house with a higher rev rate that don't have his control. So he's not stealing. In other words, he's earning it. these patterns that are blended
Oh, I witnessed it. That
with
shit
oil in the
says
middle
I
and
witnessed
tapered to the right, his power and his control
Never seen that.
puts him in a dominating position. And it's a power game today. You see these guys on that tour, every one of them have, 450 or more off their hand. Some of them are at 5 and 550, like Santu and Jesper and this left-handed gentleman named Cameron Crowe, left-handed bowler, is a black bowler. Wait till you see him bowl. You will not believe the power off his hand. It's more than Svensson. Now Svensson, watching Svensson bowl, I thought to myself, no one's going to have more than him. Well, Cameron Crowe's got more power than Svensson. He might have 600 off his hand. And they give him a little sniff and give him a little room, and he will dominate and be on TV shortly. Everybody knows it. It's just a question of when. He's in his first year. Obviously, he's got to go through some things. I'm sure he's nervous at times. Obviously, he's a black bowler, and a lot of people are going to be watching him because he has the potential to dominate. Everybody knows that. So they're going to be watching him. He could make history. There's never been a black bowler of the year in the history of professional bowling. And this is the one guy. I mean, he's got a long way to go, don't get me wrong. He hasn't even won yet. But he's the one guy, if he can harness that power and put a little finesse in there where he's going to need it, it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. I think his ball's hitting the pins at 22 miles an hour. He's 25 off his hand. At 550 to 600 revs at 22 miles an hour. No one's ever done that before. There's no conditions that have ever been put out for a shot like that before. In other words, if everybody threw the ball like that, they'd have conditions for that. But nobody throws it like that. So that's going to be interesting. He's got a shot that no one has on the left side of the lane. And he's not like Buttroff. He's not swinging the ball, laying it down on 10 and throwing it out to 3, 4, or 5. It's just the other way around. He's just yanking it right up 5, 6, 7. Well, you put him in there from about 6 to 10 and let him go right out the pocket, and that might be more devastating than anything anyone's ever seen. Cameron Crowe. Very unorthodox in the push away. But once this he wins, he's going to have a lot of fans around the country. He could become a leader because of his physical strength, his age, and the people that are going to follow him. He could have a great career if he can win. If he can get a win and become a champion, he's going to have an unbelievable following worldwide. And I love it. You get a young man like that who's gotten this far. Right now he's in the catbird seat. He's got a great opportunity because of his physical strength, his nature. He's a very nice person. I saw an interview with him. He's really a very nice guy to listen to. Excellent demeanor, very well liked, and boy, you never know. He starts striking on the left side, wins a couple of majors. He could be a bowler of the year. You just never know. Danny Gould 300 2 weeks ago in Game 3. Lofting and really lofting it through the front, not overhooking the ball. Let's see what he's doing tonight. He was going like 17 to 15. Maybe the ball's going out as far as 11, 12, but that was it. Yeah, pretty similar tonight. See it? At the first date again. He's on a roll. You know, when I was player service director, the greatest black bowler of our day, well, there was two of them, Charlie Venable and Willie Willis. Willie Willis now lives in Las Vegas. He was out of New Haven, Connecticut. He was the first black bowler to bowl the Tournament of Champions. And Willie Willis was a fierce player on the lanes. I mean, fierce. He won his first NEBA against me in 1979. We bowled a title match, and I needed a mark to beat him. I stoned a 6-8, high pocket hit, almost slid the 6 into the 8, and lost in Bradley Bowl. He got a standing ovation. And I remember leaving there, I wasn't too happy. The next week, the regional came in, the PBA regional, and I won it. This is my last regional win. And Willie bowled that tournament, and I looked at him early in qualifying, and I said, "You beating me is the best thing that ever happened for both of us." And he started laughing. He says, "Why is that?" I said, "Well, you needed to win, and I needed to lose." I said, "I didn't like losing, and I'm going to win this tournament." And I did. He came up to me at the end of the tournament, shook my hand, said I was a great bowler, and I should have never quit. And I said, "I might be a great bowler, but I'm glad I quit." And I never won a regional again. It was my 4th regional win. And but Willie was a great bowler in his day. Won major tournaments in the Northeast. Now lives in Vegas. We're so lucky, you know, that the game is worldwide. I'm sure the people in the Philippines that saw Timmy Tam on Saturday had to be going in orbit. Now, bowling is big in the Philippines, but I believe, and I could be wrong, he might be the first Filipino to make a PBA telecast. Of course, years ago was Mika, and and Mats Carlson out of Europe, and now, of course, we've got Svensson out of Sweden, and Francois Lavoie out of Canada. So we have international stars. I don't believe anyone from the Philippines has ever made a telecast before. This young gentleman this past weekend, he throws the ball great. Beautiful style. And I'm glad that that's happening in the PBA. I'm glad for the kids. Glad for their parents and their friends. Glad for the Barnes family. Young boy making his 2nd telecast, 21 years old, Ryan Barnes. That's when I won. I won at 21. Made 3 telecasts when I was 21. Never made one before or one after. I should have stayed 21. Oh yeah, Danny Gould, baby. Same line he played a few weeks ago. Oh yeah, Michael Corday. Willie, I met Willie, believe it or not, at 66. We called him Hookball Willie. When he was 14, he was from West Haven, Connecticut. And I watched him bowl when he was 14, bowling for money. And he's ripping on it. I mean, just covering the whole lane with a rubber ball. So his nickname was Hookball Willie. And not many people know that, that they don't know how long I know him. I know him 58 years. And I watched him become great. And you talk about fierce on the lanes. I mean, all business. There was no fooling around when he bowled. It was for real. So Gould with 9, Cross with 8. So we have a way to really have a wonderful finish this evening. And I was looking for something like this. We needed to get something to cheer about, right? We gotta have something. Look over here. We got Jim with the open at 8, and all of a sudden in game 3, it's like everybody woke up. They were asleep. That's David, okay. I didn't realize that was David. Oh, David's bowling bad, shooting 2-0, okay. Oh, he's 3-stepping. I got it. He don't like it. David strikes and shakes his head and says no. I often wondered about that. How do you shake your head and say no? All right. Now keep in mind, Cross does have the second high average in the house behind Stouffer in this league. He was 245 going into tonight. So he still has a chance to take the high average in the association for this season. 5 pins is not a lot, with 15 weeks to go. Anything can happen. Whoa, wow. So let's see. Tonight I'm talking about Franny Lee, costume designer of Saturday Night Live, who bowled. I'm talking about Willie Willis, who was the first black bowler ever to bowl the Tournament of Champions. I'm talking about Carmen Salvino, who's been a great bowler for 9 decades. I threw in Ned Day, Buddy Bomar, and Joe Willman, just to get their names in there. Talked about Walter Ray, Mike Albee, Pete Weber, E.J. Tackett, Earl, Norm Duke, and Parker. Had Larry Stella on giving me all the history I needed. And let's see what else. What else did we talk about tonight where we could have some good conversation? Oh, the kids, Timmy Tam and Cameron Crowe, and Ryan Barnes and Tim Foy, who all qualified in the Pro Tour qualifying event, and Dick Weber, and Lou Rinaldi running 9 miles. In Yiddish, we call that a mashugana. Lou is a mashugana, folks. Now, tomorrow night, I'm going to coach Lou after the league. So we're going to watch Danny Gould, and right next to him, Keith Cross. Now, keep in mind, Gould, 300 2 weeks ago. Evidently, he likes them when they burn up a little bit. He can throw it real hard and just let it fall back. And here we go. Larry Stella's there to help. Larry, you always help. Well, he's got the same look he had. You know, it seems like the last couple of weeks, game 3 of all games, gives these guys a look that really want to get in and really loft the heads, which you can't really do that much in game 1. They're a little too tight. Boy, but game 2, you can just get on it and loft it. He's got to keep his speed up now. He doesn't want to get slow. Boy, he lofted that one. Look at that. Hold it. Oh, good shot. Turn it. Excellent shot for Danny Gould right there. Couldn't throw it any better than that. That was good. Good ball. Got through it. Didn't set it short. Got it about 3 feet, 4 feet over the line. And that's what Cross does in this house. He lofts the heads. There it is. An 89. Dan Gould. All right. See if we can find some more scores here before we call it a night. And Chris Owen got a chance for another big game here. Well, we know he had a big game last game. Is he gonna? He's shooting 800 on us here. Got a sweet roll on the ball. Chris Owen looking really good. Beautiful roll. Owen, a Dutch 260. He bowled real good the last 2 games. He had well over 500 the last 2. Good for him. Now all eyes. On the great one, Keith Cross. Now keep in mind, 2 years ago, Keith Cross won the proprietors event here. That's a big tournament coming up in April. John Rukoski won it last year, beating Jake Miller. And I want all of you to watch, if we can, Cross from this angle here, which is not the camera on his pair, but you can really get a good look at his loft over the foul line. And I'm going to say it's about 6 feet. So in essence, his ball's only on the lane for 54 feet. I think he's getting 6 feet aloft. Let's see if I'm right. He's going to be coming up here now. And here we go. Taking his time, really drying the hand on the hand dryer. Coming up here right now. Come right into your camera. Watch the loft off the hand. It'll be at least 6 feet. See it? Come on. Oh boy, that one hooked early. Whoa. He got fooled. And keep in mind, that lane could have broke down that much. That didn't look bad off his hand, but it just jumped 5 feet too soon. I mean, that thing was left at 40 feet. Normally his ball pushes through the front. That time it just duck hooked. I'm sure he's surprised. He's a little better than that on 9 in a row. He's shaking his head saying, what happened? And it's conceivable that lane hooked that much more from the 8th frame to the 10th. This house does that, especially late in the evening. It'll shock you when it happens. There's no way to forecast it. Your ball tells you a little too late. It tells you when it's off your hand. See, he's way deep now. Look at it, push there. See that? He moved in. Lo and behold, he hits the pocket. I think that lane just broke down on him. He had no idea what was going to happen. When we say break down, I don't mean the lane stopped working. I mean the heads started hooking. And actually, heads don't hook, balls hook. So what I mean is, for a third time, the oil has been taken off the heads by the friction of the bearing point. It's like a dragster tire. That ball is churning the minute it hits, and it wears a hole in the oil. It literally wears a hole in it, in the head, in the lay down area. And if you drop your next ball right in that spot, it's going to jump. That's when you get fooled. You lay it down in literally a divot. Loft is always good if you know how to control it. Mark Roth was the greatest loft bowler in history. He won PBA tournaments lofting the ball 4, 6, 8, and 10 feet, never moving his eyes and feet the whole tournament, played loft. And you can do that today to a point, not like 40 years ago though, but you can do it today by playing loft in the heads. E.J. Tackett's one of the greatest in the world at it right now. He can loft the heads. You're welcome, Megan. Thank you. All right, Megan. The skill level tonight, again, in the mixed league, still a strong mixed league. When you watch Danny Gould, Keith Cross, several of our bowlers, Chris Owen really bowled well tonight. Nice to see that. I don't know what Cross had. I can't see his scores. No, nothing there. Okay, how about here? No. All right, we're going to... Good night. We're going to close it down, everybody. Again, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday here in Fort Myers. We will be on the air again tomorrow at 6:45. I want to thank all of you for your kind words, your commentary, all the people that posted. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me make sure I got everybody here. A lot of friends on tonight, a lot of our regulars, some new people. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your lives to be with us. It really means a lot when we have our regulars and some new people, so thank you. I want to just double check, make sure I'm not missing anything here before we call it a night. No, we're good there. Got some pairs just finishing up. It's like Chrissy having a tough night. Had 780s and 770s in recent weeks, and all of a sudden tonight, Look at that. Each game, first and third game, 2 opens and 4 frames. So she struggled tonight, which is rare. But even the great ones struggle. You know, she does not like bowling bad. But she'll be back tomorrow night. Probably put 770 on them. She's still got the fire in her. She does not like to bowl bad. She's used to controlling her own game. And she'll be back. The great ones always come back. All right, so we're going to say goodnight. Call it a night. Yeah, maybe I get home by 10:30 if I'm lucky. Anyways, thanks again. See you tomorrow night. As usual, good luck and good bowling. See you in about 20 hours. Have a good one.